The name Yaakov is connected with the number 7 and the attribute of Tiferes, the attribute of mercy and beauty. We see that throughout the life of Yaakov, and the gematria of Yaakov, the number 7 repeated very often. First and foremost, Yaakov means the heel. Yud Akev, to bring God down into the hill, into the lowest parts of society. If you add up the letters of Yaakov, you have Yud, Ayin, Kuf, Beis, it equals 182. 182 is 7 times 26. In other words, the name of Yaakov is 7 times the name of God. 7 times 26 is 182. And we find that when Yaakov came to the house of Lavan, he tells Lavan, I will work for your daughter for 7 years. And then we know that Lavan gave him Leah instead of Rachel, and he worked another 7 years for Rachel. The concept of 7 is repeated throughout the life of Yaakov. Why 7? As we stated earlier, Yaakov represents the attribute of Tiferes. Tiferes is mercy or beauty, which encompasses and comprises the majority of the midos, which are the 6 midos, the 6 attributes. And therefore Yaakov Avinu is also hinted by the letter Vav in the word Vehanoira. And the letter Vav equals 6. So Yaakov works for Leah and he works for Rachel. Yaakov himself represents the 6 midos, the 6 attributes. Leah is the attribute of Bina, and therefore it's the 7th. Similarly, Yaakov works for Rachel. Rachel is the attribute of Malchus, of kingship. So you have the attribute of Rachel and the 6 attributes of Yaakov, a total of 7. And therefore Yaakov connects with Leah, and he connects with Rachel, both through working 7 years. We also find that he came to the house of Lavan at the age of 77. And he lived for 147 years. Here too, it's 7 times 21. 21 is the name of God of Ehyeh. I will be who I will be. So again, we see the concept of 7 for Yaakov Avinu's mission in life was to bring godliness down into the 7 attributes of this world. We know that Yaakov was called by 2 basic names. One was the name that he was given at birth, which was Yaakov, and the second name when he wrestled with the angel. As the angel said to him, Kisarisa Melikim Vanashim Vetuchal, you wrestled with God and you overcame. The word Elokim also means nature. In other words, Yisrael means one who wrestles with nature and overcomes this nature. But Yaakov generally is represented by 2 names, Yaakov and Yisrael. The way we understand this is that Yaakov represents the weekday and Yisrael represents Shabbos. Yaakov means Akev, the heel, while Yisrael means the head, Lirosh. Shabbos is the head of the week. It blesses the whole week. It's the highest day of the week. On that day, it's clear that the Jewish people are the chosen people because they daven all day and they study Torah all day and they participate in the holiday of Shabbos. They don't work. They are segregated and separated from the rest of the world. That is the name Yisrael. Throughout the rest of the week, they are involved with the everyday world. They are then Akev. They are the heel, Yaakov. Furthermore, every day in a person's life, you could be Yisrael or you could be Yaakov. When you daven, you pray, you study Torah, then you are Yisrael. when you go into the workplace, when you eat, you sleep, then you are Yaakov. So this is the two different concepts of Yaakov and Yisrael. This also sheds some light on a very interesting Gemara. The Gemara in Kedushin, page Chav Tesam of Beis 29, side 2, says the famous story that there was a shed, a monster, a spirit, an evil spirit, a demon. And this demon was in the Beis Medrash of Abaye. And this demon was a very scary demon. It was scaring away the people of the synagogue, of the study hall. And so they called him Rab Acher bar Yaakov. He was famous for getting rid of demons. V'lon ba'hi beis hamedrash. And he went to sleep in that synagogue, in that study hall that night. While he was asleep, came along the demon. The demon looked like a big, big snake with 7 heads, or like a dragon with 7 heads. So what did he do? He got up and he bowed down 7 times. And each time as he bowed down, he said the Shema Yisrael. Each time he bows down, he says the Shema Yisrael, one of the heads fall off. He does this 7 times, all 7 heads fall off the demon is no longer there. Comes along the commentaries and says, how did Rab Acher know what to do? Very simple. He was called Rab Acher bar Yaakov, the son of Yaakov. He looked into the story of Jacob. What did Jacob do when he met his brother Asaph? It says over there that Yaakov bowed down 7 times. Why did Yaakov bow down 7 times before his brother Asaph? Says the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, that Yitzchak, we spoke at a previous class, is 8 times the name of God. Now Yitzchak had 2 children. He had Yaakov and he had Asaph. To Yaakov he gave God's name 7 times. For Yaakov is 182, which is 7 times 26. The 8th name of God, the 8th time, he conveyed this name to Asaph. So Asaph has within him a certain level of godliness, of holiness. But also, Asaph has 7 times the word tamei, impure, in him. So you have 7 times the word tamei, which is 350, plus the name of God, which is 26, which is a total of 376, and that equals the name of Asaph. Asaph is 376. 7 times the word impure, tamei, impure, and 1 time the name of God, 26. So what does Yaakov do? He bows down 7 times to knock out the 7 impurities of Asaph by imparting the 7 names of God that he possesses, and therefore Asaph has nothing left but the name of God. What is the name Yaakov? The letters of Yaakov, Yud, Ayin, Kuf, Beis. The letter Yud represents godliness. It's the first letter of God's name. It's also the last name of God, letter of God's name. It's the first letter of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Tetragrammaton, and the last letter of the Adnai. So Yud represents godliness. The letter Ayin represents eyes, Ayin, to see the potential of godliness in the world. Kuf is holy, to see the holiness in the world. And Beis of Yaakov is the Beis of Bereshis, of creation. In other words, the job of Yaakov is to see in creation the potential to bring down godliness and therefore to transform the mundane into the holy. What is Jacob's pasuk, his passage? The pasuk that Jacob says is from Tehillim, Psalm 20. Yancha Hashem b'yimtzara yisagevcha Hashem alikei Yaakov. Which means God answers me. And God will answer me on the day of my distress. and the God of Jacob will give us strength. And this concept represents the life of Yaakov. He always was in a very dire situation. First, he was in the house of Lavan, who wanted to wipe him out. And then he met with Asaph, who wanted to kill him. And then his daughter Dinah was abducted. And then he goes down to Mitzrayim to live under the Pharaoh. Therefore, throughout his entire life, he lived in a time of tzara, in a time of pain and suffering and constraints. And that is the word Mitzrayim, borders and constraints. And yet, Yancha Hashem, throughout all of this, he became rich and he became prosperous and he was able to establish the entire Jewish people. As we stated earlier, that Avraham gave forth a child like Ishmael, and Yitzchak gave forth a child like Asaph. But Yaakov was mitasoi shalema, his entire home was complete. Every single child went in the ways of God, and from these 12 tribes comes about the entire Jewish people, God's chosen people. Yaakov, a name of strength, connected with the name of 7, alluding to the connection between heaven and earth.